Good morning, people. How you doing? I'm good. It's Monday morning. I just got up and I'm out sitting on the balcony getting some fresh air and eating my breakfast, which is a slice of banana bread. My grandson, who's 6, made it on Saturday with a lot of help. But we let him measure everything and do some of the mixing until he lifted the mixer, my hand mixer, up and held it up like this, and yeah, it went everywhere. But anyway, basically he made it and we put it in the oven for him. For my new subs, when I say we, I mean my daughter Casey and I. She lives across the breezeway from me at the apartment complex, and we're best friends, and she's with me a lot. Anyway, my grandson made this banana bread on Saturday, and it was a recipe we'd never tried before, and it was so moist. And this morning, I had it wrapped in foil. This morning, it's still just as moist as when it came out of the oven. So I'm keeping this recipe. I don't like it when we have bread or muffins and they get all dried out, in a day or so. So this recipe's a keep. Anyway, I wanted to tell you about my experience over the weekend. Toby, no barking. I went into a store. I was trying to think of when I have last been in a store. January, my daughter Casey had pneumonia, and I know we went into the grocery store, our little neighborhood Walmart market, and got some things for her then. And then in February, she had type B influenza, and I went back in the store to get her more juice and some things. And here comes the guy with some dogs, and my dogs are gonna bark. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, I'm gonna put this banana bread recipe in the description. It's a good one. Then over the weekend, I decided I needed to go in a store. I haven't been in a store, I think I was telling you, since January and February. I don't think I went into a store at all in March or so far in April. So I haven't been out in the world during this climate of virus living. So I wanted to go in a Walgreens. So I went in Walgreens, I wore my mask. I forgot to put the gloves on that I had in the car, but I wore my mask and I went in and I went to grab a basket, and for a split second I thought, I've got to sterilize it. Went to get a disinfectant wipe out of the container that's always sitting there. It was empty. For a second I debated whether to touch that handle or not, but I decided to live risky and did. I thought, I'll wash my hands. Casey was waiting in the car for my daughter, and I know she had hand sanitizer in her purse, so I could do that as soon as I got in the car. But that whole little debate with myself was weird. And then as I walked through the store, there were very few people in the store, but everybody had a mask on except this one young couple. And it was, it was not freaky, but kind of startling to see everybody in a mask. This is the first time I've been out of the apartment, and distant. If somebody was on a row, on an aisle, obviously people would walk up and then keep going instead of turn down that aisle, which I did too. But that was weird. But anyway, I got what I needed, and then I saw Easter candy. They still had some, was 70% off, so I went down that aisle to see what all I could get for my grandkids. I bribed them. My son and daughter-in-law are working. Their kids are 6 and 9, no school, so they have to go somewhere, and so they come stay with me instead of going to daycare. And I bribed them to be good. If they don't bicker, fuss, things like that, if they're good all day, then they get to pick something out of my treat box. Anyway, so I was looking at the 70% off candy and stuff to put in the treat box, and I got a bunch of stuff, and went to get in line, and they had reconfigured the store where now it's like a maze to get to the register with the big blue dots that say stand here, and they're 6 feet apart. So I did that, and there was one lady ahead of me checking out, and she had a whole lot of stuff. Well, I was on the blue dot that said stand here, 6 feet from her, and the young couple that I said didn't have a mask on, they came up behind me, and they were on the dot back there, and they just had a greeting card and gift bag. First of all, I wanted to say to them, don't buy that here. Go down the street to Dollar Tree and get a big gift bag. But I didn't. But anyway, I said to them, here, you go ahead of me because I've got all this stuff and you just have the 2 items. And the young woman said, are you sure? And I said, of course, go ahead of me. And so they got on the dot I had been standing on, and I backed up. I was looking down at my basket of stuff trying to arrange it to where I could pick it all up to put on the counter, when I heard this gruff, loud voice. Now, for my new subs, I'm hearing impaired. I don't wear earrings. I don't wear hearing aids now, but I did for years. But I don't wear them now. Don't have any. But I'm hearing impaired. Even I could hear this lady gruffly, loudly say, move back 6 feet. Well, I assumed it came from the cashier, so I looked at the young girl that was at the cash register, and her eyes, she had a mask on too. Her eyes were as startled as mine. So I knew it came from the customer. And the young man said, we are 6 feet back. And he was standing on the blue dot. And then it was a few more minutes. She was still checking out things, and she turned and said something else to them. And he again said, we are 6 feet back. I thought, is this our world now? Is this our world? Where I live is a real friendly place. People talk to each other. People say hi. People are polite. I mean, it kind of pushed me into a little depression state, how it felt in that store, and hearing her say that to these people when we were on our blue dots. Is that our world now? Weird. But anyway, I also wanted to tell you about a YouTube channel I watch. It's the man's name, and that's the name of his channel, is Stephen Gardner. Stephen is Stephen. Gardner is Gardner. He's a financial insurance guy, which normally wouldn't interest me at all. He teaches people how to manage their money, and I don't have money to manage, so it wouldn't interest me. But it was in my, how YouTube gives you suggested YouTube channels you might like, and I guess I got it because I always watch Money Mom. If you don't know Money Mom, her channel is Sensible Living with Money Mom. Sensible is spelled weird. It's cents, C-E-N-T-S, like a penny. And her channel is all about frugal living. Sometimes she talks about her diet. She's lost a whole lot of weight, and she mentions that sometimes. But anyway, mostly it's frugal living. So I assume that's why Stephen Gardner's channel popped up in my suggested feed. But he has a real soothing voice. But mostly I started watching him because he looks like what I believe Clark Kent would look like. If I were cast in a movie, this is the dude I'd get to play Clark Kent in a Superman movie. And he has a lot of teeth. Pearly white teeth. He's a pleasant looking man. He's a handsome man. His voice is very soothing. He seems just like a delightful guy. He's a young man. And this last week he's been talking about stimulus checks, what ideas are in the works to go before Congress for the next stimulus check. And so that does interest me. So I've been watching him this week. Well, one time in the week, also right now, I like him because he says, I don't know what's going to happen. He doesn't act like he knows everything. But he gives a lot of encouraging words. His his channel is very encouraging. You know, we're going to get through this, blah, blah, blah. Well, one time during the week, I've only watched him for a week, he mentioned Christ. And he said he got so much hate mail for bringing Christ into the picture, mentioning Christ. And it was just not a whole lot. I just anyway. Then on Sunday, yesterday, he talked about not being able to go to church, you know, because of our social distancing thing. And he said, I'm a financial advisor, I'm not a minister, but I just felt like I should share some encouraging words about Christ. And so he did. And I thought, if you are missing getting to go to church, you might really enjoy his little message. It wasn't very long. And as I said, he's just a real pleasant, wholesome guy. Not a minister. But the message he gave was uplifting and soothing and brought peace to me when I didn't even know I needed that. It fulfilled something I needed that I didn't even know. So, if you don't mind someone talking about Christ, and you could use some encouraging words, and you could use a feeling of peace come over you, go to Stephen Gardner's channel. That's the name of his channel, Stephen Gardner, Stephen with a P-H-E-N, yeah, not V. Anyway, I saw him first, and then, oh, never mind. I'm gonna go. I'm trying to pull myself up out of the depression hole. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I hope you have a great Monday. See ya.